Hey friends, in the house today doing a video because it is too cold outside, and in the cabin I didn't start the heat, so it's chilly. We're gonna go deep again today, you guys. Okay, this is something that I personally have experienced a lot of in my life, by choice. Please note that it is always a choice of living in victim mentality versus surrendered mentality. And what is the difference? Because I would think that sometimes people might think that surrendering is kind of the same thing as being a victim. It is not. It is very different. Okay, we're going to talk about that. So what is victim mentality, right? Victim mentality is when we get to the place where, like, in our lives where everything feels like it's going wrong, everything feels like it's out of control, everything feels like it's out to get us, and all we do is kind of marinate in that. We don't see any hope in most of our, maybe in some areas of our life we can see some hope or some fun or some joy, but in a lot of areas, like the big important ones, we feel like there's nothing. We feel like we're just kind of numb. We feel like everything else is always everyone else's fault. Like that we don't have any participation in it at all, which, by the way, is not true. We always have a choice to participate. So I have lived in that place a lot in my life. I have chosen to be in that place of blaming everyone else, of thinking I have no control over where my life goes or what happens in my life. And then I have gone to the other side thinking I have more control than I actually do. So let's find that balance in the middle. That's where surrender is, okay? We're going to talk about that. So two things to note. Victimhood is giving up. Surrendering is letting go. What is the difference? Well, when we are in that victim mentality, we think there's no hope for the future. Why even try? I'm just going to give up. Basically, like a dog, when it rolls over and shows its belly, it's giving up. It's not fighting anymore. On the other hand, surrendered is, I do this a lot with both of my hands, and it's not that I'm walking away or that I'm mad or I'm giving up. That's not what that is. It means I'm surrendering. I'm intentionally putting my hands in the air to remind myself that I don't have to be in control of this, that God is, and I can leave it to Him. What I can control in that moment is, one, putting it in His hands so He can deal with it, and two, if I have been given instruction, whether it was by God in His Word, whether it was by someone in my life who knows what's going on and has given me a tip in that direction, like, you should try this, and I have done those things, then I can say, okay, I did the thing that God put in front of me to do, and I have to trust Him with the results. I think that's big. So giving up versus letting go. So letting go is doing what I can towards changing whatever the thing is, and letting God deal with the rest. So a lot of hands in the air. So then another thought that comes to us sometimes when we're in that victim mentality is everyone is out to get me. But the truth is, God is for me. And that matters more than what people think or what they say or any of those things. And I know it is hard in the moment sometimes to hear what people think and say, but we just have to filter that through God's Word. Like, is that true of me? And if it is, maybe we need to think about it, pray about it, and see if there's something we need to change. But if you feel like, you and God are on the same page, and He's like, just keep going, child, just keep going, then you better keep going. Another thing sometimes that we feel like is like everything's out of control. I don't have any control over any of the things in my life. Everybody else's choices are messing up my life. That is really a scary place to be, because that means that there's no hope, that there's nothing that you can actually do. Also, it's not true. God will never put you in a place where your only choice is to sin. That keeps coming back to me over and over and over. He will not put us in a place where our only choice is to sin. However, the enemy likes to put us in places where we do have a choice to sin, and he wants us to pick that choice. So we have to be very careful with what we're doing with those choices. So so the opposite of that. So everything feels out of control to God is in control, and He is. And here's the thing. God is sovereign, but He also allows us to make choices. How does that work? I don't know. If I could explain it, that means I would be smarter than God, and I don't know about you, but I don't want a God that I'm smarter than, because I'm not that smart. So I'm really glad that He does it that way, that He gives us like ownership in it to some extent, but that He also has it all under control. Isn't that great news? I mean, I think that relieves a lot of pressure in my mind. Okay, breathing. So those are just some thoughts that tend to come up if we're in victim mode. I'm going to give up, or I can't do anything. I can't control anything. Everything's out of my control. It's everyone else's fault. And Yeah, I think those are the things that I talked about. Okay, so the opposite of that is true though. Surrender, what does that look like? And how is it different than victimhood? We kind of talked about this a little bit already. Victimhood is like that rolling over, giving up, taking our hands off and saying, it's not mine, not my circus, not my monkeys, right? Which I'm okay with saying that sometimes because it's true. Sometimes the circus and monkeys are not mine and I can't do anything about it. But if it is mine, then I need to take responsibility for what I can do in the moment, what the things that God has given me to do, whether that's asking a hard question that I like to avoid, or whether that is giving someone some encouragement, whether that is using a tool that I have or helping someone else learn to use a tool, whatever that looks like. But I have to be obedient in the things that he's given me to do, right? Not 100% perfect at this. This sanctification is a journey. It's a process. We don't get there all automatically all at once. So it's okay to give ourselves grace as we're failing forward into growth, right? Let's keep talking about that. So what does surrendering look like? It means I'm not going to spend a lot of my time, blaming other people, feeling hopeless, and feeling out of control. I'm going to spend my time surrendering to God. Okay, God, I'm being a little anxious about this right now, but I know you got this. Is there something else that you want me to do? And then leave it with him and listen. Pay attention to what's going on around you, whether it's somebody that's, maybe you're watching a Facebook video and you're like, you know what? There is something else that I need to do. Then go do that thing. Be obedient in that. God will bless you. And I know that he wants us to live surrendered to him, not as victims of other people or of circumstances or any of that, because his word tells us we are not victims. We are victors. We are conquerors in him. So we need to remember that. We need to surrender to him so that we can be conquerors, because we can't win anything if we are letting other things control our lives, right? He's the only one that should be controlling our lives and our thoughts and all of those things. And yes, we have something to do in that. Like, we have to pay attention to what's going on between our ears, and we have to be intentional about that. We have to be intentional with our time and our goals and our resources and all of those things. But the big thing is like, involve him in the process. Ask him, what is it what you want me to do today? How can I encourage someone? How can I practice compassion? How can I, whatever it is that you find yourself coming up against, how can I get through this thing that you put in front of me today without losing my mind or being mean to people? Like, how can I do this with grace? And I just have to tell you, today was a day. So we have a joke around here that, what kind of farm do you have? Well, we have a truck farm, because it seems like we keep growing trucks and mud. However, today the mud was mostly frozen, but the trucks, 2 of them, weren't working. We had to take our trash cans down to the road, and we have to load them in the truck to get them there. We ended up dragging them down our really long driveway because I couldn't get either of the trucks to start. And on top of that, a dog threw up in our kitchen. So, it didn't start out the best, but what do? Do I get mad about it? No, I can't control any of those things. I found the silver linings, right? Looked for the silver linings. Okay, God, what are you trying to teach me right now? And I'm learning gratitude. So I was grateful that we have concrete floors. Makes it easy to clean up. I am grateful for good helpers that are happy to help. I am grateful to be healthy enough to do the thing that I needed to get done. Like, there's lots to be grateful for. So surrender and practice gratefulness. Have a great day, you guys. We'll talk soon. Bye.